State officials updated large gathering guidelines for the CCP virus, also known as COVID-19. The state is planning to ease many of its vaccine and testing requirements. Let's take a look at the upcoming changes.
California will drop the vaccine and negative test requirement for mega events starting next month. Mega events are outdoor gatherings with over 10,000 people and indoor gatherings with over 1,000 people. Current rules require attendees to show proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test. But on April 1st, the requirement will transition to a recommendation for outdoor mega events and a strong recommendation for indoor mega events. State health officials cited the declining case rates and hospitalizations. Officials said in the press release that these recommendations will continue to be updated as CDPH continues to assess conditions on an ongoing basis. Friday's announcement comes after the state lifted its universal mask mandate for indoor public places earlier this month. As masking transitions into a recommendation for many places, masks are now only mandatory in a handful of places statewide. These include healthcare settings, nursing homes, homeless shelters, jails, prisons, and emergency shelters. The federal order requiring masks to be worn on public transportation, including planes and buses, also remains in effect through at least April 18th.
For anyone whose communities have been influenced by homelessness, California is taking drastic measures to tackle the issue. Officials in Los Angeles show their support for a planned policy that could forcefully place certain individuals into conservatory care.
The Los Angeles City Council announced its support of Governor Gavin Newsom's Community Assistance, Recovery, and Empowerment, or CARE, court proposal. The CARE Court is a proposal from earlier this month that would force individuals suffering from substance abuse, mental illnesses, and homelessness into treatment and housing. The county board passed a motion and sent a letter to the state in support of the proposal last week. The county board wrote in a March 15th statement that Los Angeles County stands to benefit greatly from the rollout of the CARE Court. The board wrote that people with severe mental illness or substance abuse often end up on the streets, jail, or hospitals where they don't receive needed care. Newsom has yet to receive legislative backing for his proposal. If the proposal becomes law, every county in California has to comply with it. LA County Supervisor Janice Hahn said last week she believed there are many questions about how this program was going to be implemented and funded. Supervisor Sheila Kuhl agreed with the board's motion to support the governor's proposal, but said she is concerned that counties cannot opt in or, frankly, out. Details of the program are still limited. The governor said he'll be participating in roundtable discussions with criminal justice reform groups in the coming months. LA County supervisors said they hoped the county's public health and justice system could join the discussion. Under this policy framework, such individuals who decline treatment could be placed into a conservatorship. The American Civil Liberties Union denounced the controversial system upon Newsom's proposal of the CARE Court. As part of the motion, LA County officials will direct the county's Sacramento legislative advocates to advocate in support of the CARE Court program. California has more than 160,000 homeless people in the state, with the highest population of homeless individuals residing in LA County. According to the last homeless count, LA County has 66,000 homeless people living on its streets and 41,000 in LA City. Daniel Hall, NTD News, California.
As gas prices at the pump increase, a number of Uber and Lyft drivers are considering quitting driving for their ride-sharing apps, according to a survey. But the companies say new drivers are joining up.
Ride-sharing companies Uber and Lyft announced a 55-cent per ride surcharge this month that would directly be paid to drivers. This is in response to the record-high gas prices. But Uber and Lyft drivers, who typically pay for their own gas, aren't satisfied with the surcharge. Reuters reported that a survey of over 300 drivers showed about 15% of them had already quit driving, and nearly 40% were driving less. The survey was conducted by the Rideshare Guy, a popular driver's blog. One driver, Fabricio Lombeda, a part-time driver in Georgia, said, "It's rather insulting that they even suggest 55 cents per ride. Because you have rides that are 2 minutes long, and then you have rides that are an hour long." Uber and Lyft say their number of active drivers is steadily rising as daily activities resume. Lyft stated, "We've not seen a decline in the number of drivers on the platform or the hours they drive when, for example, you compare March to January." Michael Erstad, an analyst with M Science, said, "There is some risk of driver departures. Otherwise, you would not have seen both Uber and Lyft institute surcharges." As of March 21st, average gas price is $5.86 per gallon in California and $4.25 nationwide, according to AAA.
The Attorney General is setting his sights on Pasadena for enforcement of a recent housing density law. The city has several long-established landmark districts protecting traditional buildings. The AG says Pasadena is trying to get around the law, as may have been the case for one Bay Area town.
Pasadena, the home of the Rose Bowl, may soon also be home to high-density housing. That change could come after Attorney General Rob Bonta issued a letter to the city and its mayor alleging they are in violation of a new housing ordinance law. The law, SB 9, came into effect on January 1st. It splits up single-family housing lots into multiple sections to allow for building more smaller houses. Pasadena has several long-established landmark districts. Some of these districts contain traditional, century-old houses and iconically styled buildings. Further, the city passed ordinances that exempted landmark districts from SB 9 regulations. But Bonta says the districts exist to keep out denser, affordable housing. In his letter, he gave Pasadena 30 days to comply with SB 9, but did not list consequences for non-compliance. Pasadena Mayor Victor Gordo said on Tuesday that Bonta's letter arrived without any prior conversation about interpreting and complying with the law. Bonta previously targeted the highly priced county of San Mateo in the Bay Area for similarly violating the law. But the situation was different from Pasadena's. The town of Woodside declared itself a mountain lion sanctuary after SB 9 came into effect. SB 9 disallows building in areas where endangered species live. After some controversy, Bonta sent a letter to Woodside threatening a lawsuit. San Mateo quickly stopped the ordinance afterwards. Gordo said they will review the letter and provide a written response.
Los Angeles landlords are getting a break after 2 years of paying property taxes through eviction moratoriums. But the head of a one-apartment association says the changes come too late for those who've lost their money or even property.
Last week, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors decided to forgive property tax penalties for landlords affected by the eviction moratorium. The Apartment Association of Greater Los Angeles said for some, it might be too little, too late. Dan Yukelson, executive director of the association, said his group was extremely supportive of the decision. He said, "It is a shame it took the county more than 2 years to just realize that when revenue collection is non-existent or restricted, that property owners just might be challenged to pay property taxes, mortgages, and a multitude of other necessary expenses." The board unanimously passed a motion on March 15th to cancel property tax penalties, interest, costs, and fees for property owners who did not receive rent during the eviction moratorium. Supervisor Catherine Barger, who co-sponsored the action, said the county could not, in good conscience, balance COVID-19 relief on the backs of property owners. Supervisor Janice Hahn, the other co-sponsor, wrote on Twitter, "The eviction moratorium has prevented people from losing housing, but landlords have borne the brunt. While it is not within our authority to waive people's property taxes, we can waive their late fees." The motion was filed in response to the board approving an extension to the eviction moratorium in January. The county will next reach out to property owners and share information about how to request relief. Yukelson said while finally eliminating penalties is helpful to many housing providers, this is merely a drop in the bucket for those who have lost thousands of dollars or in a worst case have lost their property. He said a tax holiday would have been a better solution in the first place, just as there was a rent holiday.
A midnight driving stunt gone wrong has led to more than one wrecked car in Los Angeles. The impressive footage of a Tesla getting 3 seconds of airtime resulted in a resident's car being totaled in the aftermath. NTD's Jason Blair brings us the story.
A driver was recorded trying to pull off a dangerous stunt by launching a Tesla into the air at a steep LA intersection. The video has been going viral, and the police are offering a reward for information on the driver. According to LAPD, the high-speed stunt gone wrong happened just after midnight on Sunday morning. The car can be seen getting about 3 seconds of airtime before a loud crash landing, then running into 2 parked cars and several trash cans. Fortunately, there were no reported injuries. The police say the car was a rental and the driver fled the scene, leaving the car abandoned.
Everybody came outside to see guys piling out of the totaled Tesla, getting into other Teslas that had come down the hill and were now waiting. So everybody piles out of the totaled one. 2 of my neighbors saw the guy who was driving handle a cat as he was going from one car to the other.
Jordan Hook is the owner of one of the parked cars that was a victim of the crash landing. The LA musician posted a video showing the damage done to his parked Subaru, saying that unfortunately it looks like his car is done for.
And I just put like $4,500 into getting a new motor in it last month because I'm a musician and I travel a lot, I tour a lot, and this has been a great car.
Hook said his neighbors helped him start a GoFundMe page open to people who want to help him replace his totaled car. LAPD has offered a $1,000 reward for leads into the misdemeanor hit and run. Jason Blair, NTD News, California.